Hello and welcome to MS-4004. My name is Lockie and I'm here to take you through how Copilot can help you in your workday. Now, before we begin, a little bit about myself. I'm based in Canberra in Australia and I am a Microsoft technical trainer. I help clients in high compliance scenarios get skilled up in a whole range of different areas. But my specialty is in multi-cloud and also hybrid cloud. That means I've done a lot of work with clients with documents all over the place. And using Copilot as an impetus to kind of bring things together and make the best use of all of the document libraries you have, the databases you build, it's kind of been my modus operandi the last few years here. So, what am I here to take you through? Well, with the lens of high compliance, I do a lot of work about how Copilot actually works under the hood. It's important to understand what it's doing. And my goal is for you to have a good understanding of how it actually works, not how we say it works or how it's said it works in the sales material, how you can actively use it in your workday, and how it works best for you in your specific scenario. So, without further ado, let's begin and start talking Copilot. Now, specifically, we are here today to talk about Microsoft 365 Copilot. There are many Copilots in the Microsoft ecosystem, and Microsoft 365 Copilot is the one that is designed to work with all of the components of Microsoft 365 and Office 365 more broadly. So I think before we begin, it's good to get a little bit of a level set. Let's talk about what it is, what it isn't, and what it's being built upon. So, Copilot for Microsoft 365 is the main child of what we're going to be talking about today. It's the main topic of our course and the main thing that we are focused on. But there are many Copilots, as I said. The Copilot for Word works differently to the Copilot for Excel, the Copilot for Outlook, Teams, Loop, and the rest of the Microsoft 365 ecosystem broadly. Each individual Copilot has its own set of special skills and is designed to work in a specific way. We call these two different types of experiences either standalone or embedded. The standalone experience for Copilot for Microsoft 365 is what you'll get at office.com or over in the Copilot app on your machine. Additionally, Teams actually makes use of the standalone version of the Microsoft 365 Copilot app, and it uses this to be able to reach out to Teams messages, look at calendar invites, and be able to bring in broader context about how Office works on the day-to-day. When we use an embedded experience, we use those in-app. And many of my demonstrations are going to focus on that in-app experience. This is where we focus in on some specific skill set. When we use Copilot in Excel, it's great at coming up with new formulas. When we use it in Outlook, it's designed for drafting emails and being able to coach us into, well, writing the right thing. When we're using it in Word, it's about recreating a document, redrafting, coming up with new suggestions, and looking for new improvements within that behavior. Each Copilot has a specific set of skills, and we look to utilize those whenever we can. But I keep using this word Copilot, and I think it's nice to just have a little bit of a background about what a Copilot actually is. Like, what is Copilot for Microsoft 365? We know what it's going to do for us, and I'll give plenty of demonstrations about how it's going to work for you. But under the hood, it's really three separate components. The first is an LLM, or a large language model. There are many different companies out there coming up with large language models. LLMs are designed to reach out to large data sets of information and be able to find patterns in how human language is written, and a little bit of how human language is spoken as well. We use this to be able to find easy, predictable pathways. So when we say, I have a pet, what's the next word? It could be dog, it could be cat, it could be bird, but there is a pathway that we can follow, and we know what the most likely response is going to be based on the data that we originally feed in. Now, critically, LLMs are packaged and static. Your information is not used to retrain or improve an LLM. These are things that we utilize and that we update over time, but these are generally provided by an external company. Whilst we as Microsoft do make various large language models and small language models ourselves, our research team is very skilled in that area. OpenAI is the main basis for many of the different packages that we use in the LLM space. Now, away from the technical jargon, what are we adding in when you go for a Copilot? The first thing is the protections and guardrails that you come to expect with a Microsoft system. These are things that do evolve and improve over time. We use this to ensure that when you use a Copilot, it responds in an appropriate manner. It behaves in a way that makes sense for an enterprise. You want something that you're going to use at work to feel like a tool you should be using at work. So we leverage the different pieces of our ecosystem, the different APIs we already have access to, and the great skill we already have in terms of filtering language, in terms of making sure that it is fair and responsible in its responses, and ensuring that it is grounded in a level of reality and accuracy. And the last critical piece, the thing that makes Copilot for Microsoft 365 something different, is the graph. Now, what the graph is a reach out API where we can hit an endpoint, a point in your environment that says, what's on your calendar? What's in your Outlook? What's on Teams? This is the thing that allows us to feed in all of the baseline components of the LLM, packaged with those protections, and then we add on the content you provide from your Microsoft 365 environment. So, baseline package wrapped with all the protections and guardrails you need to be enterprise ready, and then you bring the content, the thing that makes it personalized to you specifically. That is what a Copilot is, and that is what Copilot for Microsoft 365 is when you actually use it on the day-to-day. The Copilot system is designed to be able to give you a simple, trusted place to be able to do your work. We use these LLMs in combination with the graph in order to give you that proper, seamless integration across that Office 365 suite. And additionally, you can expect that there is going to be contextually aware responses. So that is the baseline of what Microsoft 365 Copilot is and what it's going to provide for you. There is a critical thing that you do need to know about this work version of Copilot. It is license-based. So you do need to ensure that you have the correct license in your environment and that it has been enabled in your environment today. Copilot is not on by default. It is something that an organization needs to enable. Of course, right now, for non-work use, you have access to a Copilot. Over on Bing, there is a Copilot available for general use and for great web queries. But it's not designed with enterprise protections in mind. It's designed for general search terms and general use cases. If you are looking to integrate with Microsoft 365, pulling your emails and all of the things you expect out of a work environment, that's where we're going to require a license. So if you don't have access to it today, there's a couple of things that need to happen in the back end there, and that might be why. Now, let's talk about what Microsoft 365 Copilot does for you specifically. The three things you see on here: understanding context and user need, transforming how you work, and giving yourself a whole bunch of key capabilities. These effectively show what a base Copilot is able to normally do. The understanding of context, that's based on the graph. The more we can pull in from there, the better we are able to work with the data you provide. Transform how you work, large language models, and the secondary piece of that, a natural language processor, means that we can take the questions you ask, run them through an algorithm, and then the LLM can process them and give an output that feels right. It feels like you're talking to someone, like you have an assistant or a Copilot on the side. And of course, the last thing is that baseline LLMs have many key capabilities that we are leveraging. The ability to rewrite, to analyze, to find different components, whilst also ensuring that you are, well, secure. You have access to the things you should have access to and no more. It's critical to ensure that we're managing all three of those pieces. This right here is the logical architecture of how a Copilot actually fits together. And I like to leave this one in just as a way of giving you one last set of how the graph actually functions. Just remember that a Copilot alone, the thing that we see at this point, that Microsoft 365 Copilot out of the box, it does great work, but doesn't know you. The graph, the thing that means that if it is something you can't see, Copilot can't see it. If it's something that you are able to pull, Copilot can pull it. We use your permissions. So if Copilot can see it, you can see it. That is a really important part of how we have designed this. It should work out of the box with all of the various permissions you already expect. So always keep that in mind. Now, there's one last piece of this that I haven't actually defined properly yet. We talked about LLMs already, those pre-packaged components, and we've talked about Microsoft 365 apps. But I only really quickly went through what a natural language processing component is. One of the key things to remember with large language models, the thing that Copilot's based on, is that they don't really understand anything. It'll feel like it. They're extremely good at being able to predict what they need to say next to be accurate and say the right thing. But natural language processing is the actual thing that allows you to talk to a Copilot. It takes your language that you speak. English is the easiest example that I can think of for what we tend to talk about here. I have a dog. That will get translated into 1, 2, 3, 4, a series of numbers that represent the words we're saying. Then all we need within the large language model is to find the pattern of those numbers within it. And then at the end, we need to then run it in reverse. We need to take the output of numbers we have and be able to feed them back into normal language. It's the 1-2, going from things you say in the way you like to say them, bringing them down, running them through an algorithm, and then outputting them back out. When you look at what it's actually doing under the hood, you'll be astonished at just how good Copilot is at being able to pick up what you need and how you need to access that info. Always remember, because of the way that the graph works, it is always based on a compliance-first opinion. If you cannot see it, Copilot cannot see it either. I know I've emphasized that already, but it's super important to say. What this does mean is that if you find that Copilot can see something that's unexpected, let your organization know. It means that you've been able to see it this whole time, and we need to get that fixed. This is an important piece of Copilot. It reaches out to all of the graph that is available. So if it is able to return something, you've always been able to see it there. Let people know if you ever see something that's not right. The last big piece I want to emphasize here, before I just show you a little bit of Copilot, is I want to talk to our responsible AI. Microsoft has, for a very long time, had a key set of responsible AI principles, and we adhere to them at all times. Responsible AI principles and practices around compliance with various government organizations and government bodies, making sure that we are using this in a way that makes sense and ensuring that you have access to the tools in a safe manner. This is our core goal. The AI tools that we have should be trustworthy. That is a key component of it. And we want to make sure that you are able to feel that these tools are trustworthy, that you can use them in the way that you expect and you can trust their output. Additionally, you should be able to be empowered to use these AI tools responsibly. We make sure that there are guardrails in place so you can use them and fall into the right space to ensure privacy and security is paramount. So always keep this in mind. We have responsible AI principles. We use this to define how these AI tools are actually designed. And we recommend that you follow those principles too. Feel free to take a look at the responsible AI principles over on learn.microsoft.com. We publish them out publicly and we're proud of them. All right, next we're going to go across and we're going to take a look at how Copilot works. And I'm going to show you just a few quick tours of some simple prompts that we can run to see how things work in our environment. Okay, so welcome to Copilot. This is available over at office.com, but as I mentioned, there's many different ways you can reach Microsoft 365 Copilot. Here on my main screen, I am currently in work mode. At the top of the screen, you'll see work and web. Work means that we are in your enterprise environment. We're going to use internal documentation and things that you have access to in your SharePoints, OneDrives, and also in any Teams, Outlook messages, etc. Straight away, we can see easy examples of some potential prompts that we can use for Copilot, such as, I've got a daily stand-up. Maybe I need some help preparing for that. Gabriel Woods has been contacting me. What about the latest messages from them? These are far from the only prompts that you're able to do with Copilot. The world's your oyster. Use your imagination and think about the ways that Copilot can work with you. It's using a natural language processing system, which means talk to it in a natural way. Use slang, use terms, but always be nice. Just like a person, Copilot responds better when you are kind to it and when you do say please and thank you. I know, but it does make a big difference. On this screen, there's a couple of important things that we need to know. First, the shield up the top. Anytime you see this shield, you know that your enterprise data is going to be protected. But the way this reflects is slightly different depending on what we're looking at. In the work mode, it means we're going to bring in your enterprise data. In the web mode, it means we're going to exclude it. So you've always got a guarantee that when you're using Copilot at work, whether you are using the web mode for general public chat or using the work mode for internal documentation, as well as potentially content from the web, we're able to make sure that your data is protected. You will see my little chat history coming on there as well. The chat history is always available in a little panel window on the right-hand side. Additionally, in the three dots at the top here, you'll see there's a little web content button. Sometimes it's good to flick that web content off, and so we don't pull in things from the web and we keep things purely internal. It's your call, but it's a nice little thing to work with. Now, what we're going to do is just a pretty simple prompt here. I have a daily stand-up coming. It's pulled in my calendar invite and it's got some information. Help me prepare for the project widget daily stand-up. Copilot is now running that prompt live. It gives me details about what's actually going in. We've got some additional components from external sources. This has pulled in some emails from my inbox there. It's also got the details in the agenda from the meeting itself and even who organized it. This sort of quick overview is perfect for what Copilot is great for. We see references to each of the things that it needs to reach out to. So if you need to pull in some extra data or get some extra context, you've got it straight away. And you've even got some follow-ups here. Drafting my update or give me a little bit of summary context on those extra emails. It's very easy and it's designed to be simple to pull in extra information from these other sources. So think about how you can use Copilot in your day. Now, this is the standalone experience. Beyond this, there is, of course, all of those embedded experiences. A quick tour of some of them. This is the embedded experience in Word. You have the ability to draft new documents with Copilot, as well as using it as a rewriting and coaching tool. Either way works well for us. Whatever works well for you is the way to use it. Within Word, there is also the side panel. And the side panel is great for asking general questions. If you need to ask a question about other documents, to pull some components in, or even link in external files, that's where you're able to do that and be able to create new content from other sources. In Outlook, there's two primary skills that we've worked with. The ability to summarize email threads, number one, very important. When I get a lot of emails overnight, I want to know what's actually going on and why I got so many. A quick summary of a thread can help you get up to speed fast and works brilliantly every time. The drafting of emails, It's a longer kind of process there. Maybe you want to change the tone. Maybe you've got the core points that you want to say, but you need to find a way to put it all together, get the context right. You can use the drafting capabilities to find that right wording, change the length, change the tone, even make it into a poem if you want to. If you're using Teams, two main ways we can use it. The Microsoft 365 chat is available, so you can use Microsoft 365 Copilot's full feature set, reaching out to multiple sources and getting context. Or you can keep it contained to a single chat thread. Both are useful in different ways. The chat thread feature is great if you're trying to work out what that action item needs to be from a long set of history, or with lots of back and forth in an asynchronous world, just what actually matters to me. What do I need to be doing here? This is far from the full set, but always remember that work web switch. If at any time you want to remove the work context and only pull from the web, ask general questions. What is an LLM? How does this work? Tell me about this animal. The sort of things that the kiddos like to look up as well. Always use that web mode. The web mode also has a nice little feature on the side, the ability to go through and change the conversation style. Different conversation styles give you different responses. A creative response is going to go far off the beaten path, whereas a precise response is going to focus on the facts and figures. Take your pick. Within the Copilot for Microsoft 365, we focus more on the precise above all else. Accuracy is key when in an enterprise environment, so that's the key focus for us. Now, the big thing to remember is that Copilot and Copilot for Microsoft 365, it doesn't end with just the Copilot chat itself. AI itself and working with AI tools, it's both art and science together. Yes, there is definitely a lot of creativity and you have full freedom to use these tools however fits you. Truly, I want you to experiment and iterate. That is how you get better at these tools, and the better you get at using the tools, the better the responses. The better the responses, the better you're going to use them, and so on and so forth. It's a positive feedback loop, and it's brilliant. AI is designed to not give the same answer twice. Well, sometimes it can, but it follows whatever path makes the most sense based on what you've said. Change up your wording. Sometimes AI is what's known as usefully wrong. I know, but if you're looking for a creative thing or trying to come up with ideas, it's going to try and look for different pathways to follow each time. This means that we get different prompts, different thoughts, different ways of drafting or other areas to improve every time we ask. Use your different AI skill sets and use this as an experimentation. Don't treat it as a one and done, always the same. Use it as a conversational tool and a conversational partner to experiment and to test ideas with. Now, there is a number of clear best practices. You don't have to follow these, but following them will get you a better response, guaranteed, with any large language model. So, of course, well applies to Microsoft 365 Copilot. First, be clear and be concise. Don't waffle on if you can avoid it. Try and keep your wording clear, try and keep it short, but don't leave things out. Always ensure that you are providing feedback if things are wrong. Ensure you add extra context if it's needed. Just try and keep it to whatever the minimum would be. Just like us, Copilot works best when it's a short phrase or short emails. But also like us, it needs all the context there. So make sure you provide it all together. The next and important thing is that you should trust what Copilot says, but at all times, verify. AI and large language model tools, they have great pattern matching skills and are extremely accurate. But there is a reason we have the disclosure that AI tools are sometimes incorrect. It's pattern matching. It's not a human with the understanding there. And just like someone who doesn't have all the context or maybe doesn't know the whole scenario where you're rubber ducking a question off, we want to ensure that we're checking their work. Make sure you check the responses from Copilot for accuracy, especially when you're dealing with very specific numbers. Additionally, Copilot's not actually designed as a replacement tool, so don't use it for everything. It's not skilled in every area, and it's not supposed to be. It's got specific skill sets to help supplement your workday and make you better at what you do. It's an extension, not a replacement, so don't over rely on it. Also, make sure that you just are creative with it. Do fun stuff, test things out, push the limits. Copilot is a tool that lets you unlock your creativity. And that is sometimes in the most menial of forms, but using it to extend out words that you find to struggle to get on a page, or just finding the right way to say that message. It's always a different way of using it, but focus in on being creative with it and using it in the way that makes you feel good. And the last two are important for us. Stay updated. We're always improving Copilot and adding in new protections and new skills, and ensure that you're prioritizing privacy and security. Those go hand in hand. New skills lead to new ways of using Copilot. New ways of using Copilot lead to new areas that you might not expect. So always be understanding and be cautious when you're working with sensitive data. Copilot will work with your sensitivity labels and all of the things we expect, but you still need to be careful and still need to be cautious. So always be thinking at the forefront, how am I prioritizing privacy and security while still getting the most out of the tool? Now, when you are building a prompt, what you are looking at here is the most effective way that you can write a prompt. Again, you don't have to follow it, but a best practice gets you best results. Always give Copilot a goal. In this case, I want 3 to 5 bullet points. Context, it's for an upcoming meeting with a client. That's going to change language, tone. It's going to change a lot about what we are responding. Give the expectations, a tone that is friendly but authoritative. That's important. We're changing how Copilot's going to say things, and that's going to change a lot about the different ways we put it together. And of course, your source. If you only want Teams messages, if you only want emails, only provide those. This goes for all different types of prompts as well. As much as the examples here are focused on Teams and email messages, if you are drafting a document, you're thinking about summarization, you're creating a presentation, whatever it is, think about the ways in which you can effectively prompt your environment. We have some great guidance on effective prompts over on learn.microsoft.com. So if you're looking for more information or deeper dives into what makes an effective prompt, go check it out. Last of all, in the best practices, there are also a few simple don'ts. Always be clear and concise. Don't be vague. When you're vague, Copilot will respond in unpredictable ways, just like a person would actually. If you don't give them the details, they're not going to quite know what to say. So they might do something that's unpredictable. Focus on if-then conditionals. If it doesn't work here, go do that. If you don't find this, go do this instead. Get creative. Use analogies. I use slang all the time, and it works great. If you can't quite find the word, use the one you've got at hand. Think about it and just talk to it in the way that makes most sense for you. One that's a really nice hidden feature of the way that LLMs work, great at role playing. If you need to put it in the shoes of a client or put it in the shoes of a manager, tell it it's a manager. That's its job now. And it will go through and it will play that part. It can be really good for testing out stressful scenarios or really just trying to work out what sort of questions someone might ask in the room. And the last important one, you don't have to put it all in one prompt. It can be a conversation. We call them chats. And this chat back and forth can be a series of different prompts. Each chat is a totally new context. So bring in the information you need and then ask for the details of it all together. Summarize the context, summarize the content, and bring all the parts in before you go through and do that. Last of all, you know that Copilot's not going to be good at everything because it's not supposed to be. It is a skilled tool. It's a scalpel, not a hammer. If you have a repetitive task, that is great for it. If you've got clear tasks with repeatable pieces, that is what it is good at. If it's something that's ambiguous and requires interpretation and is hard to work out, that's something that Copilot can assist with, but it needs you to make that last bit of the difference there. Be clear, Say please, be polite, be curious and ask preliminary questions, and iterate. Iterate, iterate, iterate. This is the most important part of getting good at using Copilot. So provide feedback to it. Say, that's not what I was expecting. I want it more like this. Give it samples. Give different pieces of information. Do what you can to try and find the right sort of response. Beyond this as well, if there's something else you need to bring into Copilot, your organization can actually extend it into external tools. We support a whole range of ERP and CRM applications to be able to pull in document stores, wikis, blogs, you name it. If it can integrate with the graph already, we can integrate it with Copilot. So if you're looking for a way to extend this out, there's many different options you have available. All right, now that we've gone through the basics, I think it's time to work out what Copilot can do for you. Let's dive in, and I'm going to show you some options on how Copilot works for your specific environment. All right, now let's see how this all fits together. As someone who's in a position of executive leadership, refining your ability to effectively use Copilot is crucial for harnessing its full potential. You can use this skill across various executive tasks involving all of the Microsoft 365 apps. From drafting reports in Microsoft Word, to analyzing data in Excel, to creating presentations in PowerPoint and beyond, Microsoft 365 Copilot is here to help. I prepared some example use cases to show you so you can hit the ground running and get the most out of M365 Copilot. So let's jump straight in. First up, we're starting in Teams. Now, there is actually two Copilots available in Teams. The first is the one that you see over in the top right here. This Copilot is individual for each chat session that you run, group or individual. This lets you look at the last 30 days of data by default, and it lets you be able to just get some quick summaries about information relevant to an individual one-on-one or group chat. However, what I'm interested in is the graph-grounded chat. That is available on the left-hand side in the Copilot panel. This is the full Microsoft 365 experience. So if you are interested in pulling in data from Outlook, Excel, multiple different documents all together, this is where we utilize that. I like using this because it's great for time saving, pulling in information from multiple different pieces of an environment all at once. Let's use it to that effect. What I'm going to do first up is get a summary. Let's summarize all my emails, meetings, and chats over the past 30 days related to Project Widget. Fix up my little spelling mistake there. And hit go. Now this is going to go through and look across all of the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, Word, SharePoint, OneDrive, and try and find all of the pieces relevant to that project. Okay, it's doing a search here, primarily on emails, but it has found some other stuff as well. All right, we've got some summaries coming through. It's honestly a little much. It's a lot more than I was expecting. That's okay. We'll go through and we'll take a look at these in a moment. But I want to show you a couple of important pieces. First up, scrolling back up to the top, 3 emails, 7 chat messages, 4 meetings. That's quite a bit of information on this one project in what for me is just a sample environment. If you have lots more than this, it's going to need to do some summarization to be able to pull that content together. Next, we have each individual piece of data with reference points. We're pulling in emails, we're pulling in calendar invites, and we're pulling in individual chats as well. There's some issues with the stand-up attendance. I think we'll need to take a look at that in a moment. Next, we've got the creation of a Teams channel. It's relevant to the project, and we've got another reference point there so we can jump straight to it. A little bit about our financial pitch, the daily stand-ups that are up and running, as well as all of those individual reference points down the bottom. Now, it has actually given me some suggestions, such as drafting a message or providing more details related to the financial pitch. But I actually want to just simplify this a bit. There's still a lot of info here, and all I really need to know is, what do I need to do? So list any emails, meetings, and chats from above that mention specific action items for me. All right, let's just drop out the rest. What do I need to do? Okay, first, email says that I need to take some action. There's the daily stand-up. I won't worry too much about that. But Holly is messaging me pretty profusely. There's clearly some stuff going on that I need to take action, and it's pretty clear. Approve access for team members, and I was encouraged to send a short message to the team to reinforce Project Widget and the new async update process. Let me actually jump across to that. I want to show you the details there. Here's Holly's chat, and I can click on that 3 to go straight across to it. And did you notice that the Copilot here in the top right-hand corner is a slightly different color? This is the Teams Copilot experience, and I can go through and get summaries of messages to individuals, as I mentioned. We've got the key takeaways already up on the screen because I've gone through and I've used the little more prompts down the bottom here to get highlights from the past 7 days. We can use this to be able to do quick insights to a chat, and it'll always load up the history relevant there. 3 key takeaways. There was turbulence with the project, someone's already taken proactive steps, and that I should acknowledge the positive moves and show my leadership. Not a problem. Let's jump back to our main Copilot experience, and let's see if we can go about drafting up a message more broadly. Now, it might look like I've lost the context from Project Widget, but it hasn't gone anywhere. On the right-hand side, I have a list of all of the chat messages, and it's all gone through with Copilot in the last little while. I'm going to grab the one from just before, and it will pick up where we left off. So let's go through and get Copilot to help me drafting a message. So draft a message to the team about attendance at stand-up. Ooh. Improving stand-up attendance. There we go. Let's hit send on this and see what Copilot comes back with. Okay, I wanted to take a moment to thank everyone, so notice a few gaps in attendance. Let's aim to make this stand-up as effective and inclusive as possible. I think that's good, but I'd rather that be slightly more direct. It doesn't matter if Copilot gets it right the first time. It's an iterative tool where you can experiment. Well, there's an easy prompt there to make the message shorter. That will certainly make it a little more direct. Let's go with that for starters. We can rerun that prompt and we'll go through, pull the context. Probably a little short. I might add a little bit more context into that, but I think that's pretty close. Now, there's one important piece to this as well. I want to know how people are feeling about Project Widget. So, did anyone seem upset in any of the messages, emails, or chats related to Project Widget? I think before I do anything else, I should find this out. Now, it's definitely worth noting the limitations of Copilot, and these are by design. Note that it's being quite cagey with how it's replying here. There's a few signs of frustration. It's got the different level of tone support. So areas of improvement, Gabriel Woods has seemed to have kicked a lot of this off, so it might be worth reaching out to them to check to see what needs to be in the message before we send it out. But additionally, we've got quite a few in the supportive space already. Collaborative and solution-oriented, this is good. And as long as it's addressed promptly and respectfully, we're good. Okay, I think I've got a direction for what I need to do next with my message. I've got a draft to work from, and I can think about how I want to actually put this in next. So I've got my place to start. Okay, now that we've had a look at Microsoft 365 Copilot and how it works broadly, I think let's look at the team's specific features. We already had a brief look at Holly's messages earlier, but let's dive in a bit more on that and actually take a look at some of what those suggested prompts are going to give up and some of the ways that I might be able to refactor content here. Now in front of us, we have Holly's message. Let's take a look at some of the different suggested prompts in that more prompt category. These prompt suggestions that you see, highlights from the past 7 and 30 days, what decisions were made and what are open items, these are the core suggested prompts that we'll often see within our individual environment. So, what are the open items? Let's get some quick information here. And honestly, there's only one that's currently open for me. Acknowledge positive moves in the project. Beautiful. Now I want to show you a spot where Copilot may not always work out of the box. Here we've got another thread going between Gabriel and Riley. There's some back and forth going on, but we're still pretty early days with the messages here. When I actually go to click that Copilot chat button, the chat needs more conversation to generate a response. Individual one-on-one chats are able to go through and generate responses much faster than these big group chats. It is just a nature of the tool. We need more information when we've got lots of people collaborating together to be able to understand what's going on. So do keep that in mind. Now, back to Holly's messages. In those little bits of key takeaways, there was, of course, that little reference point there. Now, I've only got the one message with Holly at this moment, and we can see that it immediately gets highlighted in red when I click that one. Let's see that again. There it is, highlighted in red. We can use this as an easy way to find the things that we're interested in. Now, this is not the only place that Copilot's useful. I actually want to show you another spot. Project Widget stood up a Teams environment earlier, and I provided a response, but honestly, I think it's a little bit too lengthy and formal. I did it pretty quickly and I was a little stressed. So I am currently working on it and will provide an update as soon as possible. I don't know, I think we can do better. What we can actually do is use the little magic pen to rewrite with Copilot. You can also go Alt-A for this one. Rewrite will allow you to quickly go through and refactor content. We can use the different adjustments to change the different pieces of tonality. There's also a full customization option, but I'm just going to go, let's just make it a bit casual. I'm on it right now and I'll let you know as soon as I can. Maybe give it one more go. Rewrite again. I'll give an update as soon as I can. Pretty close. I'm working with pretty limited words here, but that's okay. I can replace that content, hit go. We're in business. You can use Copilot in Teams not only to summarize individual chats, but also to help you rewrite content that you have in broader Teams channels. So wherever you need Copilot, it's there for you to give you a hand. Okay, now I'd like to change pace a bit and head on over to Word. What we're going to do is take a document with quite a lot of technical detail, and we're going to try and draft ourselves a speech based on that document. So in front of us here, we have the Fabricam income statement. This is pretty dense. It's a lot of just revenue numbers, operating expenditures, stuff like that. It's not really conducive to a good speech, but it's something that we are going to need. Up the top, we do actually already have a little summary with a couple of points that we might want to work towards. But I think I want to do this in a slightly different way. Rather than reworking the content and asking questions of the document itself, let's go and create a blank Word document based on the information here. I'm going to go to the top right-hand corner and I'm going to hit the share button. This allows me to copy the link directly. This is one of many ways we can pull information into a Copilot prompt, but this is one of the simplest options that we have available. All right, let's create a blank new Word document, and we're going to use some of the prompts at the top of the page to start writing some content for us. Now we've immediately got a couple of things going along the top here, and you might notice this little slash on the meeting. If I want to pull in files from elsewhere, I can actually just press slash, and it'll actually bring up the most recently used list. My income statement's actually on there. I can also hit the upload button and browse other files located in OneDrive and SharePoint to bring into a prompt. Okay, let's just go back just a little bit. We'll grab in our file. There's our income statement. Let's write a prompt. Write a speech for the Fabricam stakeholders that summarizes the results of the company's income statement found in the attached file. You will note that it's gone in a little attachment down the bottom there. Copilot's actually suggesting some other things I might want to include, but let's keep it simple for now and get our first generation out. We'll hit generate, and Copilot is going to go out, take the context from the document that's been provided, and we can see those numbers going straight in, and is going to try and pull together a speech that incorporates all of those details. Now I'm going to scroll all the way up to the top. We'll take a quick look. Good day, esteemed stakeholders. Here's some revenue growth. Here's some gross profit and operating income, net income, tax. It's all of the pieces that I was expecting to find. Now, from here, I've got a couple of ways that I can continue working with this content. I can actually just hit regenerate, and Copilot will have another go. What it's going to do is try and find another pathway to the same result. Essentially, I'm saying, look, what you've done is roughly correct, but I just want you to try something else. It's gone through and changed a couple of things in the wording. We've moved into a little bit of difference in the way that it's talking as well, so that's good. And if I'm not happy with what's happening in the closing remarks there, I can easily jump back to the conclusion that we had before as well. Once I do have a draft I'm happy with though, I need to hit this button that says Keep It. Note that that blue highlight just went away. This means we're now out of draft mode. And if you want to make any changes with Copilot from here, you're actually going to need to highlight the section you want to change, and you're going to need to rewrite using Copilot. Now, I think what we can do here is make this little closeout a bit more formal. Keep it a little bit closer to the chest. Well, let's just hit the button. Make formal. This is going to go and redraft just this section of the document, not the whole thing. And this is a little closer to the language I want. It's using a lot more business strength, resilience, strategic focus. I think this is closer to the language we're looking for. It has actually generated 3 drafts for me though, so we can take a look. Ever so slightly different in the wording, just approaching it from different directions. I could insert below, but I'm happy with this one. We'll simply replace. The blue goes away, we're now locked in, and we've got a great option. So, if you need to rewrite portions of a document, simply highlight and ask Copilot to help. All right, last of all, let's go create ourselves a presentation in PowerPoint. Speeches and slide decks do go hand in hand, so having good content to show that backs up what you say is always critical. With Copilot and PowerPoint, you can create a presentation from nothing more than a document. So, let's see how it works. We're going to go and grab a fresh new presentation here. We've already got our financial presentation we were working on before. Let's use the speech we just wrote. I'm going to hit the button, it's just opened up on PowerPoint that says Create Presentation. Now you could also go Create Presentation from File. That'll open up the Explorer and target the file for us. But I'm going to use that most recently used list to grab it instead. Create a presentation about, hit the slash button, and then we can easily just search for speech. S-P-E-E-C-H, financial results speech. Beautiful, let's bring it in. Now at this point, we're able to start using this automatic prompt to essentially just generate our deck. There is a couple of things that we could do at this point if we wanted to as well. We could also ask for speaker notes to be added. We could potentially go through and change what we would like to see in the deck. Honestly, there's a lot of customization you get at this early point in the prompt. But I want to see what it does out of the box. So let's simply hit go. Note what's happening in front of us. It's taking a look through each piece of the document. It's finding different points of reference within the document, within the speech, and it's trying to find essentially the topics that we should be covering. All right, this is looking pretty good so far. We've got some different areas. Now, some of these I probably want in a bit of a different order. I think net income, maybe we can drag that up a little bit above revenue, put that much higher up. For context, I don't think we're going to need things around cost of goods sold or operating income. It's not relevant for the presentation we're doing, so we can simply delete those components there. Gratitude's still good, we should have that. Maybe we should have a frequently asked questions piece at the end. Add a topic about frequently asked questions and include an open Q&A slide. Beautiful. We'll get it to add a new section in, look through the content we do have, and try and come up with some pieces in here. You'll note I can't remove individual slides. That's okay. If I don't like them later, I can always easily go and just delete them as I normally would in a PowerPoint deck. All right, I'm going to hit the Generate Slides button now, and we're going to let it do the full work. This is going to take the different templates that we have within PowerPoint for different layouts of slides, and it's going to use that as a basis. Once this is done, we can easily use Designer to be able to change the branding. You can do custom branding using Designer. There is some specific things we need to follow, but once we have them in play, works great. All right, we're nearly done here. I can see that we're close to the end, and we're in. We now have, once I hit this little Keep It button, essentially a full presentation as a baseline. Now it's far from done. I can see quite a bit of improvement immediately, such as, well, we can head to our financial performance summary here. I think we want that over in a little bit of a darker mode. It fits the branding a little bit better. So let's just change that in Designer. Okay, that's immediately looking better. Additionally, when I go down to my little notes section here, there's not really a whole lot sitting within it. Maybe we'll go to a slide with a bit more content. Here's our introduction. Okay, it's actually done a good job already. We've already got speaker notes in the slides here, and I haven't asked for it. Now, that is an unusual behavior. Copilot typically won't add those speaker notes directly, and we do actually usually need to ask for it. If we wanted to, not a problem. Simply, we can go over to our little home button, hit our Copilot button on the side here. This will bring up a sidebar version of Copilot where we could ask it to add speaker notes or maybe generate them for slides and we can copy them in ourselves once we're happy. Regardless, we're going to use another skill that Copilot within PowerPoint does have, and that's the ability to add new slides. It won't always be able to modify a slide, but it can always add a fresh one, so do keep that in mind. Now, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to select my first slide. There is a good reason I've done this. Copilot, when you say, generate a new slide for me, will always put it wherever you have the slide selected. You can say insert at slide 10. If you've got slide 1 selected, it becomes slide 2. Just keep this in mind when you are going through and generating it. It's part of the Designer language and part of the way that Copilot works. Now, I want to be really specific with this. I want to show you the true power of how we can actually use Copilot when we use our prompting best practices. So, add a new slide. This slide should have an image of a mountain peak in the Alps. Toward the bottom of the slide, add the company motto, "We overcome every obstacle." Add speaker notes to this slide that talk about how Fabricam works diligently to solve every customer's request. You can be as specific as you want. Copilot loves specificity instead of vagueness. So let's see how we go. Even with my little spelling mistakes in there, it's not going to matter. Copilot will be able to do a great job of being able to pull this together. You can see because I've asked for something specific, it did take a little bit longer than it usually does. But that's pretty close. We overcome every obstacle, mountain on the Alps, conquering challenges, dedicated to customer satisfaction. It's actually filled in a couple of nice things. And it even filled in the speaker notes exactly as I asked. Use Copilot as a way to start drafting out your decks. It doesn't need to be the end point, but it's a perfect starting point to get you ready and get you into the mode of creation. Okay, let's wrap it up at this point. I have shown you how refining your prompting skills can transform the way you use Microsoft 365 Copilot. From synthesizing insights to creating impactful speeches and presentations, you've seen how Copilot streamlines decision-making, fosters collaboration, and stimulates innovation, all while helping you stay informed without drowning in information. Whether it's summarizing meetings, generating key points, or drafting messages, Copilot empowers you to lead with clarity and precision. Armed with these skills, you're ready to maximize your productivity and inspire your team. Now go out there and harness the full potential of Copilot, because better communication starts with better prompting. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.